State of Texas, Mr. Chip Roy, for 3 minutes.
I thank the chairman. I applaud the chairman and the work of the committee for bringing forward legislation here, a budget that will balance in 10 years, which people say we can't do. I would note that all my colleagues have rattled through all the numbers that we face. $34.4 trillion of debt, $1 trillion every 100 days, $1 trillion in interest in 2026, more spending on interest in the defense this year. I mean, I just wonder at what point we're going to get serious on both sides of the aisle of addressing this issue, because my colleagues on the other side of the aisle will hide behind taxes, and it's just frankly just not legitimate at all. And colleagues on this side of the aisle, frankly, will also hide behind not touching taxes and hide behind, well, mandatory spending, this thing over here, but we can't deal with discretionary. We'll deal with mandatory, but we don't ever have a plan. And this budget tries to break that and force us to the table. I applaud the chairman for putting taxes on the table. They should be on the table. Not because I think we're lacking revenue, and it's just the one thing that I really want my colleagues on the other side of the aisle to at least answer and say, okay, revenues to the Treasury were 19.6% 2 years ago. Federal revenues as a percentage of GDP. That's as high as it's ever been. Can we at least acknowledge that truth and go, okay, that truth exists? It's dropped off to about 17.5%, I think, in this last go round. That's the norm. That's the norm that it's been since before World War II. So can we just dispense with this notion of the tax breaks for the rich is leaving us all sort of hosed? It's just false. Flat out 100% false. Equally false is the notion that Republicans are going to adhere to this budget. They won't. They didn't yesterday. That's the simple truth. We passed caps a year ago, and we've already busted them. That's who we are as a body. That's what's become of this institution. We either want to pass a framework and do the tough work of dealing with tax policy, dealing with spending restraint, addressing the tough issues of mandatory spending, and not hide behind it with all the political rhetoric that people are going to die and people are going to starve, as if the country can't exist without certain programs in place in Washington. We're either going to honestly address these issues or we're not. But to then pass something in a budget that we don't adhere to is a fraud perpetrated on the American people. So let's do our work. Let's pass a budget. Let's adhere to it. Let's do better than it and do the work the American people sent us here to do. I yield back.
My friend from Texas speaks the truth. I want to thank Mr. Roy, and if any member would like to submit a written statement for the record, I'll hold the record open until the end of the day to accommodate those members who may not have